All right, welcome to lesson 69, finding equivalent fractions by multiplying times 1. Now, what happens when you multiply a number by 1? For example, I have 27 times 1 up here. You still have 27, right? And when I stood up there, I was Mr. Osborn, and when I came back here, I'm still Mr. Osborn, right? My identity hasn't changed. And in math, whenever you multiply a number by 1, it stays the same. So they call that the identity property of multiplication. And you're going to need to know about properties, especially in 6th grade. So just commit that one to memory. It's the identity property of multiplication. There's also the identity property of addition. What can you do to a number to addition to make it stay the same all the time? Just add a 0. 27 plus 0 is still 27. You haven't changed its identity. Now with fractions it works a little different because you can multiply a fraction to an infinite amount of numbers and it'll still be the same amount as long as you multiply that fraction by something equivalent to 1. Now remember that fractions equivalent to 1 have the same denominator and numerator. 4 fourths, 8 eighths, 100 hundredths, 21 21ths. Those are all fractions equivalent to 1, right? So up on the board I have some fractions that you can see they've been partially filled in, but there's pieces missing. There's numerators and denominators missing, and these are from your book. So the first one says 4 fifths times something makes 12 fifteenths. Now 4 times what will make 12, and 5 times what will make 15. Now remember, when you multiply fractions, you just go straight across. So it's really easy. 4 times 3 makes 12, and 5 times 3 makes 15. So this is done. Okay? As long as the multiplication works right across, it's done. And I put in a number that actually, 3/3, is equivalent to 1. So 4 fifths is equal to 12 fifteenths. They are the same amount. If you had 12 fifteenths of a pie or 4 fifths of a pie, you have the same amount. Okay? The number is irrelevant if it's bigger or smaller. Same amount. All right, let's look at this one. This is missing a little more if you noticed. So 3 times something could be anything. I mean, you could just throw in a 4 or an 8 or 100 or a billion up there. This one has a piece, so let's do this one. 8 times what makes 24? 3 does. And since this equals this fraction, we need to make sure whatever we put on the bottom here, we also put on the top. You need it to stay equivalent to 1. So 3/3 is equivalent to 1. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3/8 is, remember that an equal sign is the word is? 3/8 is 9/24. They are the same thing. You would put an equal sign in between them, and that's why there's an equal sign there. Whenever you multiply by a fraction that's equivalent to 1, it doesn't change the value of the fraction. It just changes the numbers, the numerator and denominator that it represents. However, it's the same. And that technique seems very weird, but it will come in handy later when fractions get much more complicated. All right? If you have any questions about multiplying equivalent fractions, then come and see me, and I'll be glad to help. Thanks.